Did somebody say title challenge? No, I'm joking, but how good does it feel to be making a post-match review where I can finally say Chelsea are back to winning ways? And what a time to get back to winning ways, by the way, in a weekend that saw Newcastle, who were above us in the league table, drop points. A weekend that saw Aston Villa and Arsenal, who will be in the race for Champions League football come the end of the season, drop points. And a weekend that obviously saw relegation fodder in Man United drop points. Not relevant to us, but I just love it when it happens. And I'm so happy, and so should you be. And that is the reason why I'm not asking, I'm telling you right now, smash the like button on this video. And can I just say one simple thing before we even speak about the game, before we break it down, dissect it, and celebrate it? That, ladies and gentlemen, is what you see when you put Trevor Chalobah and Reece James into a Chelsea defence. I am so happy to see Trevor Chalobah back at Stamford Bridge, and I don't think there's anyone who watched that game that could seriously deny that that man is not worth his weight in gold. And his weight's nothing because he's an academy graduate, and if you've never think about selling him, I will personally hunt the board down. I will find addresses and I will shit on your doorstep. Don't know where that came from. Let's get into the video. But people, before we do all that, welcome back to the Joey Knight podcast. If you are new around here, please do hit the subscribe button. Even if you're not and you watch it already but you're not subscribed, please do it. The subscriber count has plummeted with Chelsea's form in the last month, and so has my mood. But I'm actually really happy tonight, and I'm so glad to be bringing you this video. It's bad, isn't it? Chelsea really affects my mood, and maybe I shouldn't let it, but at the same time, fuck me, it feels good when we win. So smash the like on the video. Let's get into it. Right, so you can see the starting lineup that we went with on screen now, and it was a much changed 11 due to injuries, suspensions, knocks, and what else? Robert Sanchez starting off in goal. Our captain, our leader, the absolute dog's bollocks, Reece James, starting at right back. Tosin Adarabioyo paired up with Trevor Chalobah, my favourite Chelsea player, in the centre-back position. And then Cucurella, you can see on the screen as a left-back. But we've all kind of figured it out now, haven't we? Wow, I do these graphics. We stick Cucurella there, but is he a left-back? Like, fuck, is he a left-back? Cucurella plays where he wants, he does what he wants, and Cucurella will be spoke about in depth in this video. Now, Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall and Caicedo. Anyone else a little bit worried when we saw those two paired with each other? Not about Caicedo, probably more about Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. Could be on his way out, but we'll speak about his performance tonight because he wasn't too bad at all. Now, Cole Palmer obviously didn't train, but there's a golden rule really, isn't there? And that is, if Cole Palmer is fit and available, you stick him on the pitch. Because I can remember weeks that Cole Palmer hadn't trained in, and he still played, and he ended up being man of the match. I mean, he's been man of the match in every other match he's played so far. Noni Madueke on one side, Pedro Neto on the other, and Nicholas Jackson through the middle. Now, let's start off where we begin. And where we begin is with Reece James, because Reece James from the start looking lively. I remember it was like a minute or so into the game. He finds a perfect ball over the top, right? And it is this peach of a ball which just amplifies the reason why Chelsea miss Reece James when he's not on the pitch so much. And you don't hear it as much anymore because I think that, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but we have been somewhat beaten into submission with the Reece James situation, you know? We're so hesitant to get excited about Reece James and about his performances because the pattern has been that he'll come in and after a few weeks or maybe a month or two if we're lucky, despite playing really well, he'll come back out of the team. He'll be injured, he'll be on the sidelines. But when he's here, we just need to cherish him. We just need to cherish him, and I really, really do. He finds JOEYK with a perfect ball over the top, and that ball he sprayed over the top wasn't a fluke. It was a sign of things to come because he was pulling some strings tonight, Reece James. Now, 5 minutes in, we see something else that I have missed so much. A man that I was emotional watching this game tonight because for Trevor Chalobah to have his, second Chelsea debut, you'd call it now? It was good un. It was a good un. It'd be hard to match the debut against Crystal Palace, wouldn't it, when he smashed in that goal? But he went some way to doing so tonight, and he could have had a goal for himself if JOEYK hadn't nicked it. But either way, we get on to that. But the reason I was so happy 5 minutes in was because I saw Trev make a last-ditch challenge. I think it might have been Larson, is it? The tall boy up front. I think it might have been him that was in on goal. Trevor Chalobah stretches out, makes the challenge. It is cheered by the Stamford Bridge crowd like a goal. And I know that I said this last time out and we only came away with the draw, but the Stamford Bridge crowd on a weeknight hits different, doesn't it? It really does. Because it's like, Sunday, come down from the weekend. Monday, new week, back on the booze. Yes, please. That's why I didn't go. 16 minutes into the game, Cole Palmer forces the second save of the game from Sarr at that point. The ball's turned over to Palmer by Caicedo, and initially, after having it nicked off him, Cole Palmer gets it back. He gets an effort at the keeper. It's drilled low, but the keeper does well to keep it out. Now, 22 minutes in, right, Wolves nearly have an absolute howler, and it's the big dog, Trevor Chalobah. He looks to dink a ball over the top, and that was a pattern of this game, wasn't it? A lot of the time, the defenders, whether it be Tosin, whether it be Trev, or whether it be Reece James, the absolute daddy, they were looking to dink balls over the top to find the likes of Nicholas Jackson and to find the likes of Pedro Neto running in behind, although he didn't do a great job of it today. I'm all over the place here. I'm just so happy. Either way, right, Trev dinks this ball over the top, and Doherty has no idea that Sarr is coming for the ball. Clearly, the communication's not there. Something that was there tonight in our back line, by the way, I believe. But clearly the communication's not there. Doherty thinks he's going to head it back to Sarr where he should be in the goal, or he feels he should be, and it beats Sarr. It goes over the top. Then you got a foot race, right? Between two former teammates. You got Doherty up against who I believe, even including Mudryk, who's serving a ban, or is he serving a ban, who I believe is registered as being the fastest player in the Premier League, Pedro Neto. Doherty wins it, puts it out for a corner. So the speed star in Pedro Neto doesn't actually manage to get on the end of that one. I think it might have been from the corner though that came, or it might have been a corner after, but either way, Chelsea have the ball in the back of the net, and do you know what? It's a hesitant one. There's no banging of the gates. I love the banging of the gates, but there is no banging of the gates, because as soon as Tosin Adarabioyo puts the ball in the back of the net, he looks to the corner flag and he kind of hands like that, and the flag hasn't been raised yet. So I'm like, are you like ruling it out? Like, don't rule it out, mate. Always deny it. Always deny it. It's like getting caught cheating on your missus, mate. Deny, deny, deny. Okay? And what he does there is straight away he kind of admits, like, yeah, could have been offside. Could have been offside. Less of that, please. Toss him. We will commit to it, okay? Either way, it's Reece James that the ball falls to after the corner, and we speak about corners because Wolves were fucking diabolical with their behaviour from corners today. But it is Reece James the ball falls to on the corner. Now, Reece James can have the ball anywhere on the pitch and I'll be shouting shoot, but the fans were shouting to shoot. He has a shot, it's deflected through. It ends up being almost a tap-in once he's managed to control it for Tosin Adarabioyo, who scores his third goal in 3 games, I think. Something like that. I'm pretty sure it was. Got a few against Bournemouth. I'm in camp now, but I was drunk, so don't remember that one. But either way, once you look at VAR, for once, they do us a favour, and Tosin is deemed as being onside. Chelsea take a 1-0 lead, and at that moment in time, it was a very well-deserved 1-0 lead. But there's always that hesitancy, because Chelsea always start fast. We come out the traps lively, and for me, it's about being able to put in those chances when we come out the traps lively. And when I was looking at our front line, Palmer, I feel you could tell, was maybe carrying a knock, maybe playing a little bit within himself, a little bit reserved. Nicholas Jackson squandering a few chances and not really having the same sort of link-up play that he had been in other matches. This is at the half-hour mark, by the way, I'm talking. JOEYK being the most lively on that front line, but the final product not quite being there. And Pedro Neto, I didn't think, to be honest, spoiler alert on the whole thing, didn't think he had a great game, if I'm honest. I didn't think he had a great game against his former club. You lot can tell me. What I do know is that they had to switch the fullbacks over at one point during the match just to try and contain JOEYK a little bit because he was doing well. But after we score that goal, Wolves do start to come back in to the game, having a few shots, putting us under certain amount of pressure, but to be honest, Chelsea's defence is holding up quite well to that pressure. There's a few dodgy passes from Robert Sanchez, but at the same time, it's to be expected. It really is. And I don't want to sit here and moan week in, week out on the channel about Robert Sanchez when, is it, I get it. Should it be addressed? Yeah. But it's not going to be addressed by our manager or by our board this season, I don't believe. We haven't heard anything, unless we're planning on starting fucking Garnacho in goal, whose agent was in the stands, by the way, tonight, then I don't think the goalkeeper's going to be replaced. Unless, Jorgensen comes in. Or unless you see the performance of Trevor Chalobah tonight and you realise, maybe sometimes we make mistakes sending players out on loan. Went a bit high pitch there, didn't I? Don't care. Maybe sometimes we make a few mistakes in sending some of our better players out on loan in order to push forward some of our worser players. And maybe we just get fucking Petrovic back. Or maybe we bell up Lenny Pidgley and get him out of retirement. I don't know. But either way, it's Sanchez that ends up costing us a goal, really. And I said about our defence being good. I can't blame the defence. I can't blame them. Wolves were using very, very dirty tactics, right? And before the, one or two Wolves fans that might be watching this get onto me, would I use them if I was you? Yes. So don't worry about it. I'm not digging you out too much. I'm saying they were dirty tactics. They're swarming all over the goalkeeper, trying to make it very physical in there, committing multiple fouls, in my opinion, putting us under a lot of unfair pressure. But at the same time, as much as the pressure being unfair, when your first choice goalkeeper has two hands on the ball, and within half a second that ball is in the back of his net, you can only blame him. And Robert Sanchez will be so happy that we come away with 3 points tonight, because had we of not, that would be a monumental moment, and maybe even a moment when you see him replaced for Jorgensen, because once Doherty equalises, I don't know, I've got a sort of bad feeling about it, to be honest, and with the trend that we've had recently of not getting better in those second halves, I can't say I was massively confident at half-time, but we come out. And do you know what? We ride a little bit of a 10-minute storm and we start to look good again. We really do. And on the hour mark, we put back in front by Mark Cucurella. The man with the luscious locks scores his second Premier League goal of the season. And do you know what, right? What even is Cucurella? What is he? Is he a left back? Is he an inverted fullback? Is he an inverted left winger? Is he a left winger? Is he a number 9? Is he the best Spanish player in, I don't want to say history, that's a push, but the best Spanish player to ever play in the Premier League? Perhaps you might suggest that. I'm not claiming it, but you wouldn't be putting an asylum for claiming it if you said that Cucurella was possibly, who have we had? We've had some good uns, but is he, as good in the midfield as a Cesc Fabregas? I think most people would say yes, Iniesta, Xavi, they never did it in the Premier League. So can you definitively say that they were better Spaniard midfielders than Cucurella, who is doing it in the Premier League at this moment in time? It's up for debate, and I'm guessing it will be a hotly contested debate, amongst yourselves in the comments section. But either way, just thank God for Cucurella. And it's in a way, it's kind of identical to the goal he scored against Who was it? Not Bournemouth. It was the last game we fucking won. Brentford, wasn't it? Right? And I don't mean identical in the way that it wasn't a header, but what I do mean is the ball is out on the left-hand side of Madueke. Madueke whips it in. Cucurella takes it down on the chest and hits it in on the half volley. And this is so much more impressive, by the way, when you realise how quickly he needs to be able to do this to even pull this move off, and the fact he's not a number 9 and he's in the number 9 position, and the fact he's right by the goalie that can just dive at his legs. But what does Cucurella do? He turns around to Nicholas Jackson and says, Nico, hold my beer, mate. I'll take this one off ya. Bomb! Into the bottom corner. Cucurella, right-footed finish. 2-1 to Chelsea. Thank God for Cucurella. And that is when the stands really are banging. And within just a matter of minutes, Chelsea then make it a 2-goal lead, mate. And Nicholas Jackson, he deserves his credit in this moment because he had a quieter game. He found it difficult. I think it's now 7 without a goal for Nicholas Jackson. He will make up for it. He will come good. He will start scoring goals. However, he plays a significant contribution, in my opinion, here because he wins the foul over by the corner flag. And Wolves, I think there was a graphic that came up on the stream that I was watching. Not the stream. I do not watch anything on a Fire Stick, ladies and gentlemen. On the subscription paid each month Sky Sports that I was watching, yeah, I think it came up that Wolves have had the most goals conceded from set pieces. Right, people, I just want to quickly take this opportunity to tell you about new partners of the channel, Squawka. When you're in the YouTube industry like I am, there is a certain type of service that you could very much do with having on your side, and that is the service that stops you making blunders. And when I'm preparing for some of my videos, I use the website Squawka to use the player comparison matrix, and that helps me get a better understanding of comparing the players that I'm talking about. For example, a lot of you guys know that for every Chelsea game, I put out my preferred starting lineup, and I do look into the underlying numbers of the players I'm picking and the players that I'm comparing, and that's where Squawka comes in. They offer the best player comparison matrix on the internet. The website is so efficient and so easy that even I can use it. For example, when I'm picking from Chelsea's 30 to 40 odd wingers that we've got at the club, I can very easily jump onto Squawka and see how their stats compare. But you don't need to be a YouTuber to need to use Squawka. You could use it for your bets when you're betting on first goal scorer and things like that. It could give you a better indication. Or you could just use it to look like a genius down the pub, and we all like to do that, don't we? So thank you very much to Squawka for not only helping me prepare for my videos, but also partnering up with the channel. So help support me by supporting the guys that support the channel in Squawka. They are linked in the description for this video. Let's get back into it. You could read into that, or you could just say, well, they've had the most goals conceded, haven't they, in the Premier League? I think they have. Maybe not now. Don't know. Who knows? Who cares, to be honest? Who asked? Yeah, so he wins it, and Cole Palmer whips it in, curls it in. Beautiful little curler. Who's there? My boy, Trev, making it, second debut goal, if he wants it. And then Noni Madueke ends up knocking it home. Now, it's not quite David Nugent style. Was it David Nugent? Was that the player that nicked the goal for England that time? I'm sure it was. David Nugent, is that the right name? I'm sure it was. He was a Barclays man. No, he wasn't really. He was shit. But either way, Noni Madueke makes sure. And I'm glad he made sure, to be honest. Because as much as I would have absolutely loved Trevor Chalobah to have scored the goal, you know, if a Wolves player had got to it in time, it could have been a very, very nervy finish for us. And for Madueke, listen, he nods home his 6th goal of the season. Doesn't make for bad stats, especially when you factor in the assists also. I mean, 4 of those goals have come against Wolves. So make of it what you will. 77 minutes. Nicholas Jackson has the ball in the back of the net. I believe it was Cole Palmer that would have got the assist for that one. I didn't need VAR in that moment. I knew the second the ball was put through that Nicholas Jackson was offside. He wasn't a country mile offside, but he was a foot or so offside. I knew he was. And he finishes it cool, calm, collectively. Yeah. Cool, calm, just like my mom, with a couple of Valium inside a palm. Eminem. big shout out. He's a big fan of mine. He was at a gig I was at recently in LA. Either way, what I'm trying to say is he finishes it well, but does psychology play a part in that? Because I'm pretty sure Nicholas Jackson knew he was offside as well. Flag obviously goes up after, which there's never any consistency with this, is there? Never any consistency. Either way, Wolves have a couple of shots. Cunha has one, Strand Larsen has another one, both saved by Robert Sanchez. And at the end of it, it finishes 3-1 to Chelsea. We march up the table. We leapfrog Manchester City once again. And what significance that match now has on it. Chelsea against Manchester City, because either Manchester City go back above us or we pull clear, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll tell you what, should have done this before the game, but I need to have a little look at the weekend's fixtures, because there are obviously some games that could be pivotal. And the main one I'm looking for here, really, right, is who are Forest playing? Newcastle are away at Southampton. They should win that, so that'll keep a bit of pressure on us. Wolves at home to Arsenal in the 3 o'clock kickoff. I think that could be a banana skin for Arsenal, you know. And what you got to remember now is for the likes of Arsenal and Aston Villa and Liverpool and whatnot, I'm not saying we're going to catch any of our Liverpool, but, you know, Arsenal, Villa are behind us and whatnot. Everyone apart from Nottingham Forest, they got European football coming back in. And I know we have too, but it's at a lesser level and we can start the B team, but injuries are piling up, so let's see what sort of business we do. Now, looking at things, Nottingham Forest must not play until Monday night. Do they not play until Monday night? Where the hell are Nottingham Forest? They play Bournemouth on Saturday. Oh, that could be point stroke, couldn't it? To be honest, we need a draw in that one. Now, I'd rather Bournemouth win it. We're a little bit more above Bournemouth, but Bournemouth from a hot run of form as well. So, best case scenario, we finish this weekend, you know, clearing ground of Man City and closing to what? A 1 point gap on Nottingham Forest, who surely will fall off. Surely. I've done a bit of research into it, yeah. And you know, Leicester are the only ones that I could find that have been in like a shock position at the 21 game mark that ended up maintaining that position. There were so many teams. There was one year, I think it was 06-07, where Bolton were there and they were third in the league, and by the end of it they finished 7th. There was a season where Leeds, I think a couple of years 01-02, I think it was, Leeds were second in the league, ended up finishing 5th in the league. I think there was a season where Leicester themselves were second in the league around the 21 game mark, ended up finishing 6th. So, you know, law of averages would suggest that Nottingham Forest will drop off a little bit, and we do need them to do that, because for, you know, the most important thing for us is winning a bit of silverware this season. I think that's guaranteed, to be honest, with the Europa Conference League. But more importantly, cracking that top 4 again. Now, some general notes that we need to speak about. I want to give a shout out to Enzo Maresca, because of recent, I don't think that we have been getting better in the second halves, and I think we were way better in the second half tonight, and he deserves immense credit for that. And another thing he deserves immense credit for is definitely appeasing the fans with his substitutes a lot more. We saw the first one come on 60-minute mark. I think 75 minutes. You saw 2 more come on, and then you had João Felix and Tyrick George follow those subs as well. So what's that? 5 subs in total, something like that. And he used them a little bit wiser, you know, because to be honest, it's a mad one. We scored 3 goals tonight, and I didn't think our front line was very good, to be honest. I think JOEYK the standout performer in that front line. But either way, let's not put a negative on it. Let's look at the positives. And one of the first positives I've got to speak about is Reece James. He looked strong, he looked quick, he looked confident, competent, creative, and just generally very, very good looking. What a man. Reece James is a stallion. He could do some real damage. I'd love to take him on holiday with me. Just as a wingman, you know, vibes, you know. But anyway, link-up play with JOEYK is very good. Dinking balls over the top, constantly showing that he has that creativity, and he has, you know, the same sort of thing that we label Trent with a lot. the ability to find a man when the ball doesn't look on, see the runs when they're in the right position. The most impressive thing about the solidity of that back line tonight and the way they were playing balls over the top, and I especially include Reece James in this, is with Reece James, right? Okay, he had a bit of pre-season, maybe one match of the season, something like that, but he is still adapting to a different style of play that is being asked of him by this manager. He's still only really making his first couple of appearances under Enzo Maresca, and although he's been on the training pitch, there's nothing like match time. And Reece has taken like a duck to water, not only to Enzo Maresca's instructions, but to a new system, you know? Last time Reece was having a run in the team, we weren't playing him as a right-sided centre-back. He was still a right-back at the time. It wasn't really that back through with the inverted until the end of the season when he sort of came back in and he was looking good. But the last time he had a real run in the team, he was a fucking wing back, playing in a different position now, and he didn't put a foot wrong really tonight for the most part. I thought he was so good, and it shows you when he was subbed off on 75 minutes why he gets that standing ovation from our fan base, because we do love him and we miss him so much. But I've got to move on to my man of the match here, and it's a man that I missed so much when he was gone, Trevor Chalobah. Fitted like a glove. Seamlessly, I think it is. I don't know what it is. But Trevor Chalobah is just the bollocks, isn't he? And do you know what it is, right? You know when you speak about good centre-backs, you rarely just get a good centre-back. It's good centre-back pairings. And had Tosin Adarabioyo had, I don't know, Axel Disasi next to him tonight, for example, no shade thrown, but Axel Disasi next to him tonight, do I think he would have looked as good? No, because it's about the man that really glues the family together. And that is what Trevor Chalobah does. And what better word to use than family? He's a Cobham boy. He's back. And as Gary Barlow was in the stands tonight, I hope he's back for good. They used a couple of take that puns on the old commentary tonight, Sky Sports, that I again didn't watch on a Fire Stick. Yeah, Trevor Chalobah, man of the match for me. Absolutely love Trevor Chalobah. Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, interesting to see him get his first start. Would it be his first start of this Premier League season? It was his first start since the Shamrock Rovers game, and he hasn't even been in the team because I think we've been looking like we're going to sell him. And, you know, I think off the back of that, there'll be people that are looking at Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall and thinking he can be a good player. He didn't put much of a foot wrong tonight. Didn't do anything wrong. Happy with his performance. But is there a golfing class between a Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall and a Romeo Lavia? Yes. Is there a golfing class between a Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall and an Enzo Fernandez? Yes, there is. There definitely is. I think we would have been more dominant in the match and more controlling in the areas that we weren't in that match had there have not been. Now, I'll finish on this, and I don't want to nitpick. I definitely don't. I've given Enzo Maresca immense credit for the way that we coped with tonight's game. But in a match like tonight, where I think it was quite clear to see that, listen, a 20% Cole Palmer is better than 90% of players in that position in the league. But when you have got a Cole Palmer that hasn't trained through the week and whatnot, you've got João Felix on the bench. You've got him on the bench, okay? Bring him on a little bit earlier. Because Cole Palmer is a player that is so brilliant that we need to protect. And often with Cole Palmer, and Caicedo for that matter, I think a lot of you guys would agree with me, they're often on the pitch and I'm like, you boys are doing brilliant, but you're doing even better because I know you're at 50% right now. I know you're not fully fit. I know you're carrying a knock. And it looked like that with Cole Palmer tonight, and I think João Felix could have come on a little bit earlier. I really do think that given the chance, he'll be able to gain some of Enzo Maresca's trust. But that's just, a general thought from me. People, let me know your thoughts on tonight's game in the comments section below. I'm so happy we're back to winning ways and roll on Saturday. Chelsea against Man City. Me and the big dog are going to be in the studio immediately getting a post-match podcast out for you guys the second the game is done. And do me a favour right now, as we are going to the effort of making sure we're freeing up our Saturday night, and we are doing that for you, please subscribe to Joey and Josh. It's linked in the description. We've been dropping some true crime bangers off there, and we're even dropping a video this Sunday about how I got nicked out in Thailand. I've teased it a few times and it's dropping on Sunday. Either way, people, good night, and once again, hands together. Dear Lord, whatever Lord you praise to, praise him for Trevor Chalobah. I love you all. I'll see you in the next one.